Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Drew Leader, Loyola University of Maryland, and I'm sharing lessons in these videos from a new book of mine called The Healing Body, Creative Responses to Illness, Aging, and Affliction. And in it, I talk about a kind of chessboard of healing strategies, 20 different strategies that people do utilize, often independent of the medical system, to kind of reintegrate their life in the face of bodily breakdown and have a satisfying and fulfilling life, even in the midst of some severe challenges that we often face. And today I want to talk about the temporal, the time-based strategy called presencing. In some other videos, I talked about focusing on the past, remembering, and focusing on a hopeful future, anticipating as places where people often go in the temporal continuum. But there's also tremendous value to locating yourself right in the present. In a certain sense, your body helps you because your body is always, to a large degree, in the present. You may be thinking about something very deeply or watching a movie, and then your body reminds you, "Oh, I have to go to the bathroom." That's happening right here in the present. You can't ignore it. Um, and when we fall ill or are injured, similarly, what's happening is in the present, but it can also open up for us a new focus on the present, is actually healing and beneficial to the individual. I want to give you an example from somebody I discussed in another video. Javi Carrel, who at age 37 discovered she had a very rare, progressive, and ultimately fatal pulmonary disease. The acronym for it is LAM, LAM. And she describes her book, she describes her experience in a wonderful book on illness. So I'm just going to quote from it. She says, "Time did change for me. I began to take it much more seriously. I began to make a point of enjoying things thoroughly, memorizing sensations, views, moments. I wanted to feel that I'm living life to the full in the present, that I am now." It's a long quote. I'm going to continue with it because it's so valuable. "By focusing on the present, I learned to discount the future. Well, it seemed to me that so many of my friends were doing the opposite. They seemed to be always waiting for something to happen, the promotion, the birth, the trip. I had nothing to wait for but bad news. Yes, really bad things could happen to me at any moment, but not now. And now is where reality is. Liquid time solidified into a crystal drop of now. I grasped that drop with both hands, clutching, savoring, enjoying. Now became the place for me to be." So now becomes kind of a refuge for Javi Carrel. She's not focusing on the future and all the awful things that might and maybe will happen to her. She's learning to really stay fully present, knowing that her time on earth is probably limited, definitely limited, and that applies to all of us. We don't really know when our expiration date is, but we know that it's coming and we have a limited amount of time. And sometimes people will say this illness, this cancer, whatever, is the best thing that happened to me because it has made me prioritize and really be more intentional and appreciative of the present. Sometimes people who are older, who feel that their time on earth is limited, also appreciate more, let's say, the beauty of the spring or the fall, because you're not sure how many seasons on Earth you have. Like when you're young, you just anticipate you'll live forever, but sooner or later you awaken from that delusion. Um, this focus on presence can also be not just kind of hedonistic, I'll enjoy fully the moment. It can really be kind of spiritual. It can be a kind of what I call a kind of timeless presence, that experience of who I am, what I am, is connected to something much greater than myself. It even goes beyond space and time, even though the present moment is my portal, my doorway to that experience. So I'm going to turn to someone else I mentioned in a previous video, Jill Bolte Taylor, who wrote a book called My Stroke of Insight. She's a neuroanatomist who had a very devastating stroke, which particularly dislodged her left brain function. And she reflects on a different experience of life that opened up for her. Quote, "To the right mind, no time exists other than the present moment, and each moment is vibrant with sensation. Life or death occurs in the present moment. The experience of joy happens in the present moment. Our perception and experience of connection with something that is greater than ourselves occurs in the present moment. To our right mind," meaning the right side of the brain, "the moment of now is timeless and abundant." So on the one hand, we often think of the now as something like a vanishingly small unit of time, just a moment immediately surpassed by the next, by the next, by the next, as registered by the clock. Um, but we can also experience the now as something that is really kind of a timeless realm. After all, we've always and only ever been in the now, even if we're remembering the past or anticipating the future. That abundant now is the only place we've ever dwelled. In that sense, it's beyond time, it's outside of time. And it can also open up the place of spiritual experience, which can be so important and so revelatory for somebody undergoing a serious or even potentially fatal illness. So once again, we've been talking about presencing, one of those healing strategies from my book, The Healing Body. And thank you for joining me in the present today, watching this video.